everyone, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated releases for April through June of 2021. If you've been following me for a while, you would know that back in December, I did a video all about my most anticipated releases for January through March of this year, and I of course will link that up in the cards above. So yes, we are keeping on with that trend. I decided to do a video every 3 months or so where I would talk about the releases for the next 3 months. So I'm gonna go in chronological order, and I'm also going to be talking about books that span a variety of genres. So without further ado, let's just get into it. First up, we have April 6th. There are 3 books coming out that day that I'm personally really excited about. The first one is The Intimacy Experiment by Rosie Danan. This is actually the follow-up to The Roommate, which was one of my favorite romances of 2020. Such a fun time. Basically, this is a romance about 2 roommates, and Josh is a porn star actually. And so what's really exciting about this book is that Naomi is our main character this time. She was the best friend of Josh from the previous book. She also is a porn star, although I think at this point in her story, she has now retired from that and is doing different things. And I think this is her romance with a pastor from a church. So that sounds really interesting. I've heard really great things about this one, and Naomi was such a badass character in The Roommate, so I'm really excited about her getting her own book. Next up for April 6th is The Cost of Knowing by Brittany Morris. This is going to be her follow-up novel from Slay, which was a book that I absolutely adored. So just to give you a little bit of the basic premise, this one is about our main character Alex. He is 16 years old and he sees into the future, and he actually foresees his younger brother's death, and that is sort of the catalyst for the story. I'm very much looking forward to this one. Like I said, I adored Slay, and I have a feeling that this one is going to be really great. This book was advertised for if you loved books like Dear Martin by Nick Stone and They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, so that is very interesting. Next up for April 6th is The Infinity Courts. This is by Akemi Dawn Bowman. I'm just gonna read the synopsis that's on Goodreads. This plot sounds absolutely insane. It says 18-year-old Nami Miyamoto is certain her life is just beginning, but she ends up getting murdered. When Nami wakes up, she learns she's in a place called Infinity where human consciousness goes when physical bodies die. She quickly discovers that Ophelia, a virtual assistant widely used by humans on Earth, sort of like Siri, has taken over the afterlife and is now posing as a queen, forcing humans into servitude the way she'd been forced to serve in the real world. There's more to the synopsis, but like, I'm already sold. That sounds so freaking cool. I've heard really great things about some of Akemi's other books, such as Starfish, and there's another book of hers that's pretty popular. But this sounds so freaking cool. Then next up, we have a couple books coming out April 20th that I'm really excited about. The first one is The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the 3rd book. I don't know if this is necessarily the final book in the Blood from Blood and Ash series. I'm not really sure. I think the series is going to go on beyond this 3rd book, but I am planning on reading the 2nd book, A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, really soon, hopefully within the next day or so. And this is just such a fun fantasy romance series. I'm not going to go into the plot or anything like that, but I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about this series, but needless to say, I'm very excited about this 3rd book coming out, as is most of book 2. Then also on April 20th is In Deeper Waters. This is by F.T. Lukens. Okay, so this one sounds really fun because it's a YA pirate romance and it's also a gay romance. Like, I'm already sold, and I love this cover as well. But this one is about Prince Tao. Basically, when he comes of age, he is allowed to, I guess, be a part of a crew on this ship. And it sounds like they take this guy, Athlin, as prisoner, and things go on from there. I'm sure there's a lot of hijinks involved. I mean, isn't that usually the case with pirate romances? So yes, definitely looking forward to this one. Next up, we have May 4th, and the first book I want to talk about is Blade of Secrets by Tricia Levenseller. This is going to be the first book in a new series by her. I'm really excited about this book because I read The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller last year, and it was one of my top favorite books of last year. Just a really fantastic standalone YA fantasy romance. But the plot of this one sounds quite a bit different from The Shadows Between Us. This is about 18-year-old Ziva. She is a blacksmith, which sounds really cool. I feel like I've never read a YA book about a blacksmith. I don't think I've read any book about a blacksmith, but she ends up getting this commission from someone who sounds like they're kind of evil maybe, to make this incredibly powerful sword, and now she's on the run to, I guess, try to get the sword back and just try to protect the world from this crazy powerful tool that she made that she didn't intend to be this powerful, I guess. So yeah, that sounds really cool. Like I said, I need to read more from Tricia Levenseller's backlist, but this sounds really awesome as well. Next up is Cool for the Summer. This is by Dahlia Adler. This is another book that I have an e-arc of off of NetGalley, and the premise of this one sounds great to me because it sounds like it's gonna be a messy and dramatic YA contemporary, and I adore those. So this is about our main character, Laura. She has had a crush on this guy, Chase, that goes to her high school, but then she also has this memory of, I guess, having a summer romance with this girl, Jasmine, and Jasmine ends up going to their high school, and she shows up one morning and Jasmine and Chase are talking to each other, so it sounds like it's gonna be a really messy love triangle. I've heard really good things about this one, and I really like this cover also. It's really pretty. Next up on May 18th, we have The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. I don't know much about this plot other than that it is about a single mom, which I don't think Christina Lauren has written about that kind of character yet. And it also sounds like it's an enemies to lovers story. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like, yes, I'm looking forward to this book, but Christina Lauren is a little bit of a hit or miss author for me and for a lot of people. While I loved The Unhoneymooners, the other books that I've read by them I've liked, but I haven't loved, so I'm not like super duper pumped to read this one. I think I'm just gonna wait and see what other people on Goodreads think about this book before I personally read it. Next up on May 18th also is May the Best Man Win by Z.R. Eller. And the way that this is pitched is it says, a trans boy enters a throwdown battle for the title of Homecoming King with the boy he dumped last summer. I'm already intrigued by that premise, but this is also kind of reminding me of You Should See Him in a Crown by Leah Johnson, because that book is also about a queer teen who is competing for homecoming queen. Also, the cover for this is so freaking adorable. Yeah, it just sounds like a really great YA story, and I have been meaning to read more stories about trans characters, so yes, I'm very excited about this one. Next up on May 25th is Hang the Moon by Alexandria Bell Fleur. This is going to be the follow-up to Written in the Stars, which was a book that I read at the very beginning of this year and I really enjoyed. That one was a sapphic romance. This one is about Brendan, who is the brother of Elle from that previous book, and I'm really looking forward to this one because Brendan is just a hopeless romantic, and he has been in love with this woman Annie for most of their lives. I think they're childhood friends, and in the previous book we see that Annie definitely wasn't really into Brendan for a variety of reasons, and so I'm looking forward to this one because it sounds like he's going to be doing a lot of like romantic grand gestures to try to win her favor. So I think this one's going to be a really fun time. Also, this is a beautiful cover. I just love the colors. It's just stunning. Okay, next up we have June 1st, and there are 5 books coming out on June 1st that I'm excited about. Like, June 1st is the release date, it sounds like, for the beginning of the summer. So first one is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is yet another book that I was lucky enough to get an e-arc for off of NetGalley, but I haven't read it yet. It is what it is. This one I've decided to go in completely blind. So I do not know the synopsis. I don't want to know anything because with Taylor Jenkins Reid, she's just one of those authors that I know I'm gonna love whatever she writes. And so yeah, I just want to go into this not knowing anything about the synopsis or anything like that, but I have heard really good things about the arc so far, so I'm definitely really, really excited about this one. The next June 1st release is One Last Stop. This is by Casey McQuiston. This is going to be her follow-up from Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is a male-male romance that is so beloved in the booktube community. I personally enjoyed that book. I didn't love it as much as some other people did, but I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a good time. But this one is is a sapphic romance, actually. This one is really interesting because this is incorporating the element of time travel. We have our main character, August. She's 23 years old, and she sees this gorgeous woman, I think at a subway station, and her name is Jane. But Jane has just time traveled from the 1970s. So there's already a lot going there with the synopsis that I just laid out for you. I've already heard incredible things about the arcs that have been going out, so I am looking forward to reading this one. This is yet another book that I also got off of NetGalley. I think yesterday I actually just got approved for this one. Next up, we have An Emotion of Great Delight by Tahira Mafi. This is also coming out on June 1st, and I love this cover, by the way. Like, just stunning. But this one sounds like it's a little bit of a follow-up from her previous YA contemporary, which was A Very Large Expanse of Sea, mainly because it's taking place around the same time. So A Very Large Expanse of Sea took place, I want to say, in either 2001 or 2002. This one is taking place in 2003. I'm just going to read from the synopsis on Goodreads, but it says it's 2003, several months since the US officially declared war on Iraq, and the American political world has evolved. Tensions are high, hate crimes are on the rise, FBI agents are infiltrating local mosques, and the Muslim community is harassed and targeted more than ever. Shadi, who wears hijab, keeps her head down. She's too busy drowning in her own troubles to find the time to deal with bigots. Shadi is named for joy, but she's haunted by sorrow. Her brother is dead, her father is dying, her mother is falling apart, and her best friend has mysteriously dropped out of her life. So it sounds like Shadi, our main character, is dealing with a lot during this very, very turbulent time in our history, especially for the Muslim community. I loved A Very Large Expanse of Sea so much. It was one of my absolute favorite books from 2018, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Next up for June 1st is Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. Nicola Yoon is best known for writing The Sun Is Also a Star, which is one of my favorite YA contemporaries and is definitely a beloved book in the booktube community. But this one has quite a different plot. It's about our main character, Evie, and essentially it says that she doesn't believe in love anymore, but she meets this guy, X, and they end up being in a dance competition, like a ballroom dance competition together, and that sounds really adorable. This is yet another book that I just got approved for on NetGalley for the e-arc. So it sounds really cool. I also love the cover for this. Like, the colors are just everything. Next up, we have The Chosen and the Beautiful by Nevo. I mean, I just have to stop everything and, like, can we just look at this cover together? Like, I adore it. Like, this is easily one of my favorite covers for 2021. Absolutely adore it. So this was marketed as the Asian queer version of The Great Gatsby, kind of. So I'm just gonna read the synopsis that's already on Goodreads. It says, immigrant socialite magician Jordan Baker grows up in the most rarefied circles of 1920s American society. She has money, education, and invitations to some of the most exclusive parties of the jazz age. She's also queer, Asian, adopted, and treated as an exotic attraction by her peers, while the most important doors remain closed to her. But the world is full of wonders, infernal pacts and dazzling illusions, lost ghosts, and elemental mysteries. In all paper is fire, and Jordan can burn the cut paper heart out of a man. I'm not really sure what that means. She just has to learn how. And this also says that this is Nevo's debut novel, which is so exciting. So my last June 1st release that I want to talk about is The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schreffer. So this sounds like a gay enemies to lovers romance in space, and I am absolutely sold by that idea, and I hope that you are as well. So it says, after the first settler on Titan trips her distress signal, neither remaining country on Earth can afford to scramble a rescue of its own, so two sworn enemies are installed in the same spaceship. So yeah, already intrigued by that. That sounds absolutely, absolutely fantastic. Then next up we have on June 8th, The Queer Principles of Kit Webb by Cat Sebastian. I've already talked about this book a little bit in previous videos, most recently the historical romance reader book tag that I did. So as usual with Cat Sebastian, the plot sounds really fun. I love the illustrated cover. This is also coming out in trade paperback versus mass market. Basically, it is about a reluctantly reformed highwayman and befriend an aristocrat who threatens to steal his heart. I kind of want to go into this book pretty blind as well, but yes, the cover is absolutely adorable and the synopsis sounds really fun as well. Next up, we are moving on to June 10th. This is going to be Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Imide. So this is a YA thriller and I am already obsessed. I'm gonna read the synopsis for you. So it says, welcome to Niveus Private Academy, where money paves the hallways and the students are never less than perfect until now. Because an anonymous texter called Aces is bringing two students' dark secrets to light. I'm gonna end the synopsis there because with thrillers, you wanna go in blind. Trust me, you wanna go in blind. So that sounds really freaking cool. Then we are moving on to June 22nd. I have two books left to talk about actually. So first up is Blackout. This is by multiple authors, Danielle Clayton, Tiffany D. Jackson, Nick Stone, Nicola Yoon, Angie Thomas, Ashley Woodfolk. I think that's all of the authors that are involved. Basically, it sounds like this is going to be a short story collection. It says, 6 award-winning authors bring the glowing warmth and electricity of Black teen love to this interlinked novel of charming, hilarious, and heartwarming stories that shine a bright light through the dark. I really don't need to know much more than that. I am a huge fan of most of these authors. I think the only author that I haven't read from is Ashley Woodfolk, but I am really looking forward to reading this one because it sounds like it's a short story collection that offers something different to the genre. And last but not least, we have Darling by Kay Ancrum. Kay Ancrum is a YA author that I have been meaning to check out for quite some time. She is most well known for writing The Wicker King and The Weight of the Stars, I think that book is called. So this one, Darling, sounds like it's a reimagining of Peter Pan. It says, on Wendy Darling's first night in Chicago, a boy called Peter appears at her window. He's dizzying, captivating, beautiful, so she agrees to join him for a night on the town. Oh my goodness, the sky is falling. Wendy thinks they're heading to a party, but instead they're soon running in the city's underground. Okay, I'm already intrigued. I don't want to read any more of that synopsis. Wow, that sounds so freaking cool. Okay guys, that's going to be it for all of my most anticipated releases for April through June of 2021. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I would love it if you would leave a comment down below telling me about your most anticipated releases in the near future. And with that being said, I would love it if you would leave a like and subscribe, and I thank you in advance if you do. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!